Hey, my friends, how you doing? Welcome to the first video in the Google Classroom Level 1, if you want to be certified as an educator, skill checklist. And we're going to be taking a look at these first three skills right here. I think they connect really easy. Most of you probably already know how to do these. It's going to be quick little wins, right? We can just go boom, 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 check, 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 cross, 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 sharpie, 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 whatever it is that you're going to be doing. So we're going to take just a real quick look at how to set up your classroom, how to add students using a class code, and how to invite students. And you know what? Let's even throw in create your classroom roster with groups and contacts. So let's just do these first four right here. And so in the Google Geeking course, you have this document. It should give you your own copy so that you can keep track as well. And so as we go through this, you can keep track of your own learning journey, your own notes, things like that. So let's go ahead and dive into this. There are two ways for you to get into your classwork. And so if I want to come back here to the main page, if I go to classroom.google.com, like we have up here in the Omnibar, all right, it's going to take us to this page. And this is going to show you your account, if you already have a Google account, I'm assuming you do, of all the classes that you're either have already created or that you're part of. And so for here, I've got just a couple I've archived and cleaned up quite a bit here for my work. This is a Google Geeking one right here. But the way to create a new one, as I'm sure many of you are aware, is this plus sign right up here. And when you hit that plus, it's going to ask you to join or to create. And when we go ahead and hit this create right here, this is going to ask you to fill in this information. And so this is the class name that you would come up with. As you think about a lot of this remote learning and remote teaching right now, you might want to put your name in there. And so if I were still teaching social studies, that's what I used to teach way back in the day, actually when I had hair, all right, I could say social studies, and actually I would put Mr. Maurer social studies. So they would be able to see that because on their screen, they're going to have all their classes, all their teachers. It can be pretty overwhelming, and then I could go through and organize these as I wanted to when I were to go and create. And so my section, I could call this first period, social studies, and remote. So now when I go and create this classroom, that's as simple as it is to create a class. So once this loads up here, there we go. You can now see a couple things. There's the name of my course right here. There's the first period. All right. Here's my class code. Here's everything that I need when I'm working with my students. And so that is really as simple as it is to create. So now if I go back here to those three horizontal lines and go to classes, you're going to see that now here my class is. Something that I highly recommend is that you color code all your classes. And when you're on this main page of classroom.google.com, you can also rearrange these. So in case you didn't know, this Google Geeking I really want up top. This is the most important one. And I'm actually running this course right now at the same time. So I want these two up here as we're going. But I can go through and organize these. So as you're creating more classes, you want first, second, third, or by subject area, whatever it is that you're teaching, you can organize those. But I think it's important that you have different colors for each class so they stand out and pop. And so the way that you do that, if I go into this classroom, I can go here and select theme. And I could choose a preset one that they provide. There's all sorts of ones right here. I could also upload my own photo. And now obviously it's going to crop it to that header size, so you're going to have to adjust there. Or you could create your own. And so if you're interested, let me know. I can show you how to do that in Google Drawing. I prefer Adobe Spark. It's one of my favorite tools that I use on the daily. And we can do that and create your own headers. Make it very unique and just quickly create the same header with a variety of colors. You can be in and out very quickly with those. So if that's something of interest, let me know, leave a comment, and I will be sure to make a tutorial on that for you. So that's how you would do that work there. Okay, so now if we look at our checklist, boom, we just knocked that off right there. Set up your classes. You would just repeat that process for all the classes that you have. And so you would just go back to that class right here. Okay, now if you wanted to, you could just copy. So if you have one thing already set up the way you want, you can copy it and go in and edit. whatever you want to do. Now, once we have that, let's get into this next skill set here, adding students to your classroom roster using the class code. Now, I know a lot of you're already doing this. It's not a big deal, but if this is your first time thinking and using Google Classroom, when you are in your class, so here I am in the social studies class period, and I go to people, I don't have anybody in here. You're going to see that the class code is posted right here. It is also posted right here on the stream page, and I could even go here and make this bigger. Now, if I ideally was in a classroom, I could have this on the overhead, and this is how I have everybody join. If you're in a Google Meet and you don't have a classroom yet, you could just put this on a screen share and have them join this way. So it just gives you a bigger view. But kids are going to use that code to join. So what a student will do once they have that code, they would go up here to the plus. They do not have the option to create a class, but they would join class and they would type that code in, and they're going to be in your classroom. I think it's important that you teach kids how to do this. I know in our nature we have this urge to want to invite students ourselves, and we can, and this is important to be able to know how to do, because we might have a kid get added or a new email or just things happen, and so you could also invite this way. And so I could go through here. Now, what this is going to do is when you start to search in your students, all right, it will pull from your list of contacts, from your Gmail account, from your contact directory. So your student IDs are probably already in here, so it'll start to autofill, as well as your colleagues, as well as anything else that's in your contact. And so if I wanted to add myself here, I would go right there. I would click my name. You can see now I've got this kind of oblong circle here of my name, and I could just keep adding people. All right, so I could go through and I could add as many people as I want. I'd hit invite, and they're going to get an invite via their email, and it would show down here, and they'd be lightly grayed out. So they would tell you that they've been invited, but they haven't accepted. So you can keep track that way. So to do this with students, you give them the code, have them join that way, but you could also manually add them. You might need to do that. They're going to get notifications, and you're going to be able to see who has joined here in this student page for you when you're working. Now, if you have a co-teaching situation and you want to have another teacher to your course, you can do that. So you can add them here. And this is going to allow them to do everything that you can do. The only thing they can't do is delete the course. So if you have another colleague that you're working with and you want them to collaborate, create, and post and submit and do all that stuff and grade just like you would put them up there in the teacher box. There it is. That's how you would get people to join. Okay, and so we've kind of hammered out adding students with the code, inviting students to your classroom. The last is creating your classroom roster with groups and contacts. And so if you haven't done this, and so I don't know everybody has, not a lot of people explore Google Groups, but you can create groups. And so I have seen this, I use this for a lot of just online networking for my PLN. But you can create a group, like you can create a first period group, and you could invite all the students' emails into this group. Okay, and so the way you do that, let me show you. You're going to go to groups.google.com if you haven't done this before. All right, and when you do that, it's going to take you to this directory. This used to be used quite a bit. It doesn't get used quite as much anymore. And you can join groups. They're kind of like a listserv, so to speak. And so if I were to go here to my groups, all right, I can see all the groups that I'm part of. What these groups do when you go to create these, all right, so I'm gonna create one right now. I'm just gonna call it coffee test group. All right, this could be first period, or it's a lit group, or whatever it is, or it's a parent registry. You wouldn't use parents for the Google Classroom, but you could do this for your life to make life much easier, because I'm sure a lot of you maybe copy and paste a bunch of emails into an email when you send things out, and it just gets old real fast. And so you can see as I create a group, it's going to give me a group email address. It's going to create that for me. So in this case, it's coffee test group, okay, at aea9.k12. And I'm just going to put test group, because I'll get rid of this afterwards. All right, and when I go to hit create, I'm going to have this new group. What this allows me to do is it allows me to have a place where I could send out a blast now. I could put a message in this group for everybody that's in there. They're all going to get the email. And then we can have this conversation. Think of it like a forum. So what you could do then in this group, if you've never created one before, is you could invite all the people, or you could just direct add. In this case, you could direct add all your students. All right. So I've got this, and say my group, we're going to pretend here, had 30 students in it. Okay. What I can do is, opposed to typing in their emails every single time to email them, I can just in a regular email just start typing that coffee test group. Here, I'll show you, and it's going to just show up. So I have one email address that will blast everybody, and just makes your life a lot easier. And okay, so when I go to compose this email, I could go coffee. See that right there? Coffee test group. So when I click this one email, I had 30 people. It would email all 30 of them. That's beautiful. So if you have this created, or you're thinking about next year having these groups already created, what you can do then in Classroom and the students, as opposed to inviting them all or going that way, I could just start typing in this group right here. I could hit that and it would invite all those people to my Google Classroom. So you just got like a 2-for-1 deal here. You just learned about Google Groups and how to make your life easier in Google Classroom. So I just want you to be aware of that piece. I think Google Groups is an underutilized aspect in terms of saving your time of adding all these emails manually, or having a spreadsheet where you copy and paste them in and then blind carbon copy. Now you could just create that group, you have it, all right? Boom, it's one email, it goes to everybody. You can do the same invite here within Google Classroom. All right, so I showed you how to set up the Google Class to get started. We talked about the color code. We talked about how to add students with the class code. Probably the best way to do that is that way, sharing that code, getting it out. You can also invite students via email. And then I've showed you how to use groups, all right? And your contacts, that's already embedded. So when you start to type in their name, it'll show up if it's already a contact. And if you're not sure, if you want to understand your contacts a little bit better, and this will be a future video because now we're getting ahead of ourselves, you can just go to contacts.google.com and it'll give you all your contacts. You can get them organized. You can look for duplicates. You can sort all the people that you have in all your contacts through Google. All right, my friends, we did it. We just knocked out set up your classroom, add a student, invite, and create with groups and contacts. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's some new learning. Leave a comment. Let me know what questions you have. And in the next video, we're going to take a look at communicating in the classroom stream, which we've already been doing, but always good to revisit.